Now, Jarvis, you mentioned, and I mentioned this whole notion of an MVP, right? We're talking NL MVP.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you could say Freddie Freeman's in the conversation. Some even throw Matt Olson in there as an outside shot or a dark horse. Mookie Betts, of course, is white hot right now. And you might even say Ronald Acuna Jr. showed himself to be the top candidate yesterday. But I'm going to say the real MVP is Maria Acuna. Yeah, he's the
Oh,
real MVP. Oh yeah. Oh
nice.
yeah.
I like
Because Ronald Acuna
that.
Jr. married his longtime sweetheart Thursday morning, right? Early
Yes.
Thursday morning, and then turned around that evening and hit a grand slam and really put the Braves in position to take game one of a very pivotal 4-game series against the Dodgers so that they're now 5 games ahead of the Dodgers. And if we take it a step back, we talked about how important it was to win that final game in the series finale against the Rockies to make sure that they walked into this series keeping that 4-game lead that they had against the Dodgers, right? So they
Yeah.
did, they took care of business thanks to Darius Vines and company Wednesday night, and then took care of
Mm-hmm.
business Thursday night, really thanks to Ronald Acuna Jr.'s grand slam, but also the work that Michael Harris II put in at the plate was critical because it turns out his was one of his hits was the game winner, right? So
Right.
you look at that piece, and then Raisel Iglesias, because the night before, and really the series before, it was the entire bullpen, if you will, but bullpen was a little shaky last night. Mookie Betts will do
Ooh,
that to
Joe
you.
Jimenez, AJ Minter, like, all right, bro, all right, y'all need to
Right.
straighten up now,
Hey,
tighten up,
right. Come back, guys. For
tighten
the
up
end
a
of the
little
series,
bit.
come on back in. Exactly. Tighten this thing up. But thank goodness Raisel Iglesias did what he needed to do. I think he got Mookie Betts and Max Muncy both.
Mm-hmm.
And then he on a fly out, and then, of course, was able to get Enrique Hernandez to strike out swinging 8-7 the final. But more importantly, I joke about Maria because, hey, whatever you're doing, keep doing it, Mrs. Acuna, because you made that guy really happy that morning. And the Braves and Braves country benefited. But let's just keep it real. Yes, Mookie Betts, got yourself a couple home runs. Appreciate you. But when you go up to the plate and you know that all eyes are on you, and you know that there's an opportunity to blast that thing out. And Travis, that's the thing. He didn't just hit the grand slam. Okay, he smoked, he killed, he obliterated that ball. I really do think, like we talked about the day before, Guy is on mission, and he will spend the next 29 games showing you, or 28 games showing you, why he is the NL MVP.
Wholeheartedly agree because, like, when we just think about the atmosphere, the stage,
Yes.
right? It was on last night because we all understand the whole national narrative when it comes to the L.A. Dodgers or the Yankees or even the New York Mets to a
Yes.
certain degree.
True.
Those are big time markets. Those are the top 2 markets in the country, right? So anytime a team is even remotely good, they're going to get the attention, they're going to get the coverage. And I think that a lot of people came to cover that game, or all the coverage that was mostly there was because of the LA Dodgers, because when you got a guy like Mookie Betts, like, let me just say this. I don't like Mookie Betts because he's just that good. Like, he's really, really good. And I don't like, having him going when he comes up to the plate. My mind, in the back of my mind, I'm just like, oh, this dude is about to do
Yep.
something.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's absolutely ridiculous. But I think that something that really stood out to me that he said after the game, and this is kind of how I knew, you know what? This dude makes an excellent point. That's why I feel like Ronald Acuna is the MVP. He said, quote, everybody knows that 60 bases, 30 home runs, 340 average. Just look at his stats. It's self-explanatory as far as how dynamic he is. He changed the game today for sure. And I think he was being more of a prophet. Not only did he change the game that last night, to help power the Braves to that win, but I think he's changing the game as far as how it's being played because, hey, stealing bases is cool now.
Yeah.
I know they changed the rules, you know what I'm saying? But you have to take advantage of those rules. And I think Ronald Acuna is absolutely doing that with Eric Young Sr., leading the way, saying, hey, I need these boys to go out and get on these bases and run until you can't no more. So I feel like if you have the guy who has been surging, he's been having an amazing month. I would think 52 hits in the month of August. Absolutely ridiculous, right? But if you have a guy that has been on that tear like that, to say that about Ronald Acuna, who's been consistent throughout the entire season,
Yeah.
There's no question in my mind that Ronald Acuna is the real MVP of the National League.
Yeah, I definitely do, because as it goes, you know about Freddie Freeman, right? You know about the
Yeah,
consistency of Freddie Freeman. So you're not really shocked that this has been, who he is, if you will. And Mookie Betts, hey, he's shown who he is as well. He's gotten back to his white hot Mookie Betts hitting self
no
this
doubt.
last month. And like you said, the national media has kind of propelled him back into the conversation. But Ronald Acuna Jr., for whatever reason, maybe it's because he's here in Atlanta, maybe it's because of a little bit of the up and down the last couple of years due to injury, that he's not maybe gotten some of the respect that most feel he's due. But I think when you get to the plate on the biggest stage and you do what he did last night, and you were probably an inch away from even having a better storyline if you could have robbed Mookie Betts.
Snag. Oh, yes. He was so close,
man,
Oh,
right?
my gosh.
Exactly.
Oh, my gosh.
So
Wow.
think about that. But the fact that we're having that conversation and the fact that he pointed that out at the end of the game, I love that mindset, because he's saying, yeah, great that I got that grand slam, but man, if only I could have gotten there a little bit faster. I think I was a little bit short on getting there. That's the mindset that I was talking about yesterday when I said on mission, because he's seeing the bigger picture of the game and how important every single aspect of it is. It's the at-bats. Again, not just the grand slams. He knows about getting on base and how important that is, because like you said, they're being told, whether that's Ron Washington or everybody saying, look, get on base and make it happen. And when you get on base, you try to steal a base so that we can get one step closer to home, because we feel like the guy behind you, he's going to hit. So he's going to do what he has to do.
Don't get you in. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So there's more confidence now about what the Braves can do when they're runners in scoring position, because there's more confidence about what they can do to get an extra base. Where does that start? Starts with Ronald Acuna Jr. So that's the thing that I think too. There are so many intangibles. And I'm going to say one petty thing before I ask you my next question.
Absolutely.
Also, there's a meme going around that showed the face of one Freddie Freeman as Ronald Acuna Jr. was launching that grand slam out of the park. And the facial expression was like, damn, homie. Because you know what it is.
In high school, you was the man, homie. What happened to you?
Yes.
Why they trade me?
Right, exactly. Right. So now, it was funny because it's like,
Love
okay,
it.
well, now Freddie Freeman is probably a bona fide Dodger. And he's like, I want to just kick the butt of my old team. But I think also the look on his face, from playing with him all the years that you played, that when he makes contact, you already know what's going to happen. And I think that's one of the beautiful things as well. Like I joke and I'm petty because that's the meme now, Freddie Freeman's face as that ball was going out of the ballpark.
Yes.
But more importantly, that's the fear that's starting to take hold and take root in the minds of other teams and other players when he gets to the plate. And even when you launch a ball in right field, that there's every possibility that Ronald Acuna Jr. could rob you of whatever was about to happen for you. So I think those are some beautiful things as well. And I think, Jarvis, when you see that, we still can't say 100% what's going to happen. The MLB season has still 28 or so games, 29 games to go. So you don't know what it'll look like for the Braves or the Dodgers, but what you saw last night in terms of the Braves getting out to a big lead, Spencer Strider having a little bit of an off night, but I mean, it's the Dodgers, so you can't really even call it off. But then the bullpen giving up a couple runs, right? Raisel Iglesias coming back and sealing this thing. Did you still feel like, hey, I saw what I needed to see to think these guys can get it done in November against the Dodgers?
Absolutely. I think that, when you look at how our major concerns over the year, and I will continue to bring this up because it's vital. Because when the injuries to Max Fried and Kyle Wright, when you have guys like that go down, and you still are able to figure it out. You have guys like AJ Smith-Shawver and Darius Vines. Like, who are these guys, Jarvis? Like, nobody knew who these guys were before the season started. So you're talking about having 16 different starters come to the mound for you. Last time that happened, I think it was in 2016 when the Braves were trying to figure it out. And we were trying to figure out if they really want to spend some money and if we really want to win games back then. So I think right now, given how this starting rotation has been pitching as of late, and we understand that, hey, there are some chinks in the armor for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Lance Lynn, You know, they traded for him, got him from the Chicago White Sox. They went the opposite of what Alex Anthopoulos did. Like, hey, we cool. We're gonna stick it with our horses in the barn and maybe get a few guys in the bullpen to add, just try to beefing up that spot. But as far as our starting rotation, we cool. We're gonna figure that out. But the Dodgers, they went the exact opposite, right? They went out and got some guys. And we know that those guys are a little shaky. And if we're sitting up here saying and line these teams up, in October they come to face each other in LCS, and it looks like that's what's going to happen. Yeah. My money is on the Braves, barring any catastrophic injury. You know, knock on wood. I ain't got no wood right out now, but I'm knocking on wood. You know, to say that not have to worry about any injuries coming up. So yeah, to answer your question, yes, absolutely. I feel like the Braves are primed and ready because, like you said, the leader of this team, number 13. Its own mission, like you said, and I think that's even a truer statement, especially after last night.
Indeed. So did you guys, our everydayers, see enough in last night's game to say, see, we told you, Ronald Acuna Jr., he is the real NL MVP? Let us know by dropping a comment in the chat on YouTube. We appreciate you guys for always rocking with ATL Day Ones. And as you have always done, make sure that you guys download us wherever you get your podcast.